WGOP. What's going on, Pittsburgh? In this video is a press conference with the mayor to provide updates on storm restoration efforts, as well as announcing new legislation on preventing price gouging during local emergencies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, and thank you for joining us today as we gather to provide updates on the recovery efforts following the powerful storm that impacted our city on Tuesday, April 30th. As we reach the 6th day of the recovery process, it's clear that while we've faced considerable challenges, we are resilient and united in our determination to restore our community. Our dedicated mayor, Ed Gainey, has been at the forefront of this effort, working tirelessly alongside emergency services and utility companies to ensure that every resource is being directed towards bringing our city back to normal. Today, we will be sharing the latest progress on cleanup efforts, as well as the various resources available to support our residents during this critical time. It's now my privilege to introduce the Honorable Mayor Ed Gainey.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. As we share this information on updates and information on the ongoing storm recovery efforts, I'm joined by representatives from Duquesne Light Communication, Branding Director Matt Neesting, I'm gonna make sure I get it right, Department of Public Works Director Bill Crean, Public Safety Director Lee Smith, who will help provide these critical updates when I call them up. We're on day 6 of our recovery, following the unprecedented weather incident we experienced last Tuesday. I'm happy to have some positive reports this morning that I want to make sure the public is aware of. Every Pittsburgh public school is open. Every one of them is open. Every emergency facility has power. Inaccessible road segments were reduced from 120 at the start, and as of today, we are down to 17. Traffic signal outages have been reduced from 70 when we started to now we have 3. Most significantly, of all, I am hopeful that we are very close to restoring power for every city resident. As of 4:15 this afternoon, we have just over 11,500 outages remaining from the 140,000 in the city in the immediate wake of the storm. For many of you, I know it's been long, I know it's been frustrating, and expensive and frightening. I want to take a moment again to thank the people of Pittsburgh for the kindness, the patience, resilience that we have shown during this storm to one another. But even when our power has been fully restored, our recovery will not be complete. We will have to engage in repairs of our facilities and cleanups on our roadways and parks. We also have new resources to assist residents in cleaning up down trees and other damages on their property. Team Rubicon, a humanitarian aid organization that supports communities' recovery from natural disaster, is on the ground here in Pittsburgh and is now available to support property owners in their cleanup efforts. Residents can call 211 to request an assessment, and Team Rubicon representatives will visit their properties to determine if they have and can assist. Unless we act collectively as a community, hunger will intensify. The Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank is preparing for a 25% surge in demand as families seek to restock lost food and recover from the storm's financial toll. We have been successful in persuading the state to extend deadlines to SNAP reimbursements to May 30th. Let me read that again. We have been successful in persuading the state to extend the deadline for SNAP reimbursements to May 30th. City and county staffs are working hard to help SNAP recipients to get this benefit, and people can call 311 to learn more about their claim. Last week, County Exec Sarah Anna Morado and I announced a joint effort to raise $1 million to help the food bank meet this increased demand. We've heard from the public that they would like to contribute to their neighbors. And here's how you can do it. Working with the food bank, they have created a page specifically for donations for neighbors. If you are able to give, please go to the website and the address shown on our screen. We have the address right up here. On the other side, okay, we have it here. On this side, we have the address on the screen. I think it is also important to reflect on just how intense this storm was and where we go from here. It is remarkable that such a short storm left 10,000 of our residents without power, and sometimes without food and oxygen, for the better part of a week. And while we experienced it as something unprecedented for our region, we know that climate change will only intensify extreme weather events, and frequently with which they happen in Western Pennsylvania. I want to let the public know that we are committed to doing whatever we have to do to invest in being resilient and creating sustainability. That's why the comprehensive plan is all. That's what the comprehensive plan is all about, and why it is so important. What we've been through over the past week underscores the reality all too well, and I want to encourage everybody in this city to take part in the comprehensive plan. Finally, I'm very sorry to report that we begin to hear concerns from residents over the weekend about a potential price gouging, as they have been in contact with contractors and service providers to repair damages from the storm. I want to make sure that y'all hear that. Let me be clear, if these reports are confirmed, this is unacceptable. However, investigation and enforcement for these actions are done at the state level, not the local level. There exists a state law that leaves our residents without any means to seek justice in these cases. But we don't make excuses, you know us, we find solutions. It is why I immediately got to work with County Exec Sarah Anna Murata, State Senator Lindsey Williams, and Representative Abney to draft an amendment to the Pennsylvania Price Gouging Act to ensure the protection while applying to locally declared disaster emergencies, not just the ones the governor declared. None of our residents should be forced to pay jacked up prices that force them to choose between keeping their lights on, feeding their families, or making the repairs they need for recovery. Our proposed amendment is straightforward. Compels the Attorney General to investigate residents' reports of suspected price gouging during emergency situations, leave us civil penalties up to $10,000 for each violation. It also allows the Attorney General to seek relief, restitution, and recovery costs. These are the same protections and penalties that currently apply to this practice when the governor has declared an emergency disaster. Our constituents who face hardship in the wake of these emergencies don't care who declared the emergency. They need help, especially our most vulnerable population. This is a common sense solution, and I was pleased to see every member of the Allegheny State House delegation sign on as co-sponsors to this bill. I look forward to working with our leaders in Harrisburg to move this bill quickly, because emergency response shouldn't be a bipartisan priority. Should be a bipartisan reality. Now I'm gonna call up Matt, come on up.
Support, appreciate it. In the wake of a successful marathon yesterday, I'm happy to report that we're on the home stretch of our restoration process from the April 29th storm, with the finish line in sight. As of 3 p.m. today, 96% of City of Pittsburgh customers who lost service as a result of the April 29th storm have been restored. In our overall service area, that number is 98%. That is a tremendous credit to our crews in the field, the nearly 600 contractors who have come in to provide mutual assistance with us, our teams in the Operations Center and Customer Service Center, and everyone else in the company who has pitched in during this extraordinary time. In total numbers, you heard the mayor talk about the number of people still without service. A few hundred of those are in Beaver County, most of the rest are in Allegheny County. We expect to see that number to drop to about 6,500 people without power by the end of today. I want to take a moment to note that the outage map on our website shows total outages in our area, including those that occurred after the April 29th storm as a result of subsequent weather events or other factors. So for example, at 3 p.m. that map noted that 16,600 customers were without power. That number is several thousand lower for outages due to the April 29th storm. Just want to be clear about that. As we get closer to the finish line, we are addressing more and more of those single customer outages or smaller clusters of outages, like 5 customers or less. Understanding what will be required to restore their service can take more time, as can the actual repairs. That being said, we remain confident that the vast majority of our customers will have service restored by our initial global estimated time of restoration of 11 p.m. Tuesday, May 6th, tomorrow. We have been developing more specific ETRs for municipal areas since Sunday, and will continue to do so through tomorrow evening. As we develop those ETRs, they will be communicated to the customers who are affected. I also have to acknowledge this evening's incoming weather and note that some of these times may change depending on how severe this weather is and whether any more damage occurs. Contrary to some misinformation that has been circulating, we have enough equipment and materials to complete a full restoration. I repeat, we have enough equipment and materials to get the job done. To give you an idea, by the end of this week, we will have replaced nearly 300 poles. In a year, we do 2,000. We also expect to have used 250,000 feet of wire and nearly 250 transformers replaced. This was a storm of a scale we have never dealt with before. I also want to reiterate that customers should look to our website, duquesnelight.com, our social media channels, or their elected officials for accurate information regarding the storm and the restoration process. We genuinely appreciate the community's patience as we work. The outpouring of support from our elected officials, business partners, community pillars like the Steelers, and individual customers has been truly inspiring. Thank you.
Next up, Bill Crane. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to tell you that the Public Works Department continues to chip away at the closed street segments. Like the mayor alluded to earlier, it went from 120 on Wednesday morning. We're down to about 17, and we have crews currently working in the South Hills area, opening streets as we speak. Again, and we want to stress to the public, please stay away from any downed wires that you see. If there's a cone, barricade, tape, just please stay away. It's there for a reason. I want to thank Duquesne Light for their continued communication and telling us when areas are de-energized so we can go in there and work safely. I want to thank the residents for their cooperation in bringing their debris to our yard debris drop-off sites at the 5 divisions. It is open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday and Saturday, so you can bring your things down there. And residents seeking to dispose of spoiled food, please put it out with your regular trash. Keep in mind that food waste is very heavy, so please don't overload your cans or bags, and make it safe for our environmental service workers. And lastly, I think I speak for the director and everyone here. I want to thank all the men and women, the hardworking men and women of every Public Works Department for their response. We've been at this since Tuesday night, and we're still at it. Thank you very much. Next up will be Lee Smith, Public Safety Director.
Good afternoon. I just want to once again thank the public for their understanding and patience during this time. We continue to remind everyone, as others have stated, please stay away from any downed wires, any downed trees, any trees that are hanging from wires. Please stay away from those. Don't move any barricades, don't move any tape, and don't go around the areas, not through them whenever we have them blocked. I also want to thank all of our first responders for a very long week. As Deputy Director Crean just mentioned, our teams from Public Safety have been out since Tuesday night when the storm came through, and they continued work through the marathon successfully, and I just want to thank them for all the long hours and all their dedication. I also want to thank the community that has really come together. I've seen more and more on Facebook around folks engaging with our services, with public safety, with Red Cross, with Salvation Army to help deliver meals, help set up sites in the neighborhoods, in the communities. As we've been talking about, this is Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. We are here to help each other, and it's great when the residents help us help them. We do what we can with the resources we have, but this is bigger than just public safety. It's bigger than just government. It is about our whole community in this together, and seeing that growth from people, seeing people out there helping one another, helping neighbors, even if it's just opening your door so somebody can charge their phone or get a bottle of water. It's very heartwarming to see, and great to see folks helping each other. We do continue to work with the Red Cross and Salvation Army for food and other support services. If you know anyone that needs food or other support, please contact our 311. Also, as the mayor mentioned, we have Team Rubicon here working with the city and county emergency management. So they're covering the city and the entire county to help in our region, to help with restoration efforts. If you need support around that, trees cleared from your property, etc., please contact 211 through the phone on 211 or pa211.org for any needs that Team Rubicon can assist with. Once again, thank you to all, and thank you to the community.
All right, thank you, Director. Now, at this time, we'll take questions from the report. Gabrielle?
Hi, this is for Matt. So there's been some criticism by some local representatives about the length of time and how long it's taking to get our power back. Representative Mandy Steele says this long wait is unacceptable, restoration is unacceptable. She plans to call for a hearing with power companies in Harrisburg to question about why it's taking so long. What is DP Light's reaction to that response?
We appreciate the support from our elected officials, and we share their concerns for their constituents. We will continue working with Representative Steele and other elected officials as part of our normal review and evaluation of our performance to this event and afterward. That's something that we believe in as a company, continuous improvement, and this will be a part of that.
I got one more.
Okay, my last one. There's viewers who have called us saying that they're seeing out-of-town crews at their location where they live, and they're telling them that they can't do the work because of a union violation. Does Duquesne like have an answer to that response?
All of our contractors on site are union, and they agree to terms like rates, terms and conditions, things like that when they come to work for us. And I can't speak to anybody else who's had a problem with it, but all of our workers from out of town are union workers.
Matt, in this situation here, and then perceivably more storms in the future that compromise the power and residents' business, how does Duquesne Light establish a priority in what areas are addressed first? Is it about population, density of customers? Give us an idea of what your protocol is.
Yeah, so it's a good question, Charlotte, thank you. We don't go by area necessarily. We don't look at it in terms of municipalities or boroughs or anything like that. Our order of restoration goes with public safety hazards first. So clearing down wires, down poles, all of clearing those reports. After that, we go to safety critical infrastructure, so hospitals, police stations, senior care centers, dialysis centers, places like that. After that, we go to major circuits. The more customers we can turn on faster. So if one worker can turn on 5,000 customers, that's where he or she is going to focus as opposed to a smaller amount. As we get here closer to the end, we're down to those single customer outages that take as much time and as much work as some of those bigger circuits do, which is why the bigger circuits get prioritized. So that's sort of the cascading priorities that we have going forward.
That's wrong.
Yeah, Matt, by now, most of the local media has been out to the Douglas Plaza Apartments in Wilkinsburg, and we talked with a number of residents over the past few days. Can you speak to them as to, how, those two buildings out there, the senior care centers you were saying that would get first priority, why they haven't, I don't know if it's on now, but as of last night, it had been 6 days and they were suffering.
Yeah, I can't speak to an individual situation like that. We certainly feel for them, and we certainly are trying to get through the work as quickly as we can. There have been a number of those reports, and we're dispatching crews in 16-hour shifts as quickly as we can to get to them. So I can't speak to that situation specifically, but I do know that our approach is to get to those places as quickly as we can.
you say you replaced 250 transformers. In the likelihood that this, storm like this happens again, what's the likelihood of those transformers not blowing up, falling down, or being repaired in the future?
They might. I don't know how any equipment's going to perform in any kind of severe weather situation. We'll be prepared to replace them if we need to. We'll be prepared to repair them if we need to. But that's just our normal stance of operations when it comes to severe weather.
Could anyone explain why, in some cases, people have power restored, but the internet connection is not functioning properly? Is anyone able to explain that?
I can't 100% explain that. What I can say, and this is some confusion customers have had, so not every line you see up on a power pole is a power line. Some of those are cable lines, some of those are for other services. We only deal with the power lines. And so if other service lines for other services are down, those are the responsibility of those providers. We'll work with them when we put poles up and things like that, but restoration of those services are not our purview.
How well prepared, I know you were saying just a moment ago that this was a scale of a storm that you've never seen before. So just looking back at it now, how prepared do you think Duquesne was for, catastrophic situations?
It's a good question. We've never seen a storm of this scale before in terms of the damage that it did. We felt we were prepared. We had mobilized our entire workforce, but until you see what the storm actually does, it's hard to say how many contractors you might need, how much equipment you might need, things like that. So we were fully scaled up. We had to open up our own operations center and set up our incident management team, and we're ready to go. And then it was just a matter of seeing how the weather broke.
There were some questions in regards to the price gouging legislation. I know, Gabrielle, you had asked about that beforehand, so I want to have you ask a question and have Deputy Mayor Jake Pollock answer that.
Hi. We were wondering, so are there active reports of price gouging right now, or is this more of like a preventative legislation
Sure.
in case it were to happen?
So we've heard anecdotal reports coming out of organizations that are in the community knocking on the doors of residents to share information like about the food assistance information or the Team Rubicon work. Over the weekend, they started coming back reporting to their organizations who then shared with us that they were an increasing number of people talking about the contractor having been to their property, providing a quote for restoration services at an extraordinarily high rate. And as those reports started coming in, we began looking into the issue. And what we determined, as you heard the mayor mention, is that the Price Gouging Act of 2006 was created to address this very issue. It allows the Attorney General to investigate and pursue civil action against contractors that are price gouging in the aftermath of a disaster when there's been a declared emergency. But the language of the bill only references state declared emergencies declared by the governor. So working with the Allegheny County Legislative Delegation, in particular the delegation chair, Representative Ariane Abney, and on the Senate side, Senator Lindsey Williams, both chambers have now circulated co-sponsored memos for legislation that would very simply add locally declared emergencies to that act, so that in an instance like this one where the mayor and the county executive have declared local emergencies, but it hasn't hit the statewide threshold for the governor to do so, those protections would still be available here where those emergencies have been